Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel, The Password. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. It's a really massive boost and encouragement for myself and the team. So thank you so much, and welcome back to our channel. So today, I wanted us to kind of look a bit deeper to self-worth. So how did we get to the point where we begin to doubt ourselves? That comes from us being either in a position, being at a place where we were emotionally abused, where we were neglected, or it could be different forms of abuse. It could be neglect from parents. It could be the fact that the parents didn't feed us emotionally and we grew up feeling empty and feel not knowing, having an idea of who it is that we are. It could be that we have invested in a relationship, and it doesn't have to be romantic relationship, but relationship that wasn't very nourishing for us, that relationship that is quite toxic, that the individual who had more power over us kind of chipped away at us in terms of how we looked, how we thought, how we behaved, and how we dressed, whether you're too fat or whether you're too thin, basically saying negative things that ended up chipping away your confidence and forcing you into a place where you started to doubt yourself. And that is a lot of our stories. If not all of us have experienced one of those two things, or even more, or combination of the things that I have mentioned. And when I talk about brokenness, when you speak to people about it, a lot of people are not comfortable to say that yes, something that had happened in their lives has had an impact in their life, that it resulted them to behave in a certain way or think in a certain way and react in a certain way. And why do I think that people react in such manner? Because of the shame that is attached to brokenness, because of the shame that is attached to hurt. If we as individuals can choose to recognize that strength does not have a one face, strength has different faces, then we will be able to accept people and allow individuals to share their story. Whether we agree with it or not, that is through their acceptance that we can reduce the amount of people who are suffering from mental health disorders. We are living in a world where you're expected to dress a certain way, where you're expected to hold a certain qualification, or you're expected to look a certain way, you're expected to talk a certain way. Even there are people who are going as far as having plastic surgeries, bleaching their skins and doing certain dangerous things that is placing them in a place of vulnerability. Just for what? So that they can be accepted. It's really important for us to recognize that we are each other's keepers. And how can we do that? Again, by choosing individually to recognize that it is okay to say that I'm hurt. And just because you're hurt does not make you weak. It is okay to say that I feel broken. Just because you feel broken doesn't mean that you are broken. There's a difference in feeling something. Feeling something does not make it a fact. Feeling something does not make it a fact. But we have to first acknowledge what it is that we're feeling so that we can get the help or the support that we need. We need to make ourselves or the world around us comfortable and conducive enough that when people are going through stuff, they will feel comfortable enough to speak to you. And when people speak to you, sometimes they don't necessarily need you to respond and tell them whether they are right or wrong in feeling that way, all they are seeking for is acceptance. And if you don't know what to do or what to say, like many of us, you can signpost them to the right direction and support them through that process. But we have to start making ourselves available and in a way accountable in the way that we conduct ourselves, in the way that we relate with people, so that people are not dying in silence anymore. That's the only way that we can reduce and remove the stigma that is attached to mental ill health disorders. That's the only way we can remove it. We are living in a world where men, for instance, are taught that they're not supposed to feel any emotion. A man has to be physically strong and emotionally strong. But then a lot of men are growing up not being taught how to be emotionally strong, not being taught how to be emotionally mature. So what happens when you're not emotionally mature? When you're faced with certain situations, you run. You get scared. And how can you give something that you don't know? How can you give something that you don't have? And then women are taught how to accept, because it's through the acceptance that you're valued. And then a lot of people end up being in a relationship, whether romantic relationship or platonic relationship, that is very toxic. And then you accept things that you shouldn't be accepting. And just because you're not accepting certain things doesn't mean that you hate the other person. But if you know the environment that you're in is not safe for you, what do? You kindly walk away. If you can't do it on your own, you ask for help. And that goes for both men and women. We need to stop measuring our lives through Instagram and Facebook packaging. Because a lot of people are miserable. A lot of people are now measuring happiness, measuring success based on another person's point of view. And you end up neglecting yourself. But then when the camera is shut down, when nobody is ringing you, you feel so empty. What happens then? Let us learn to spend time with ourselves. Let us learn to enjoy our own selves, because it's through that time alone that you get to learn about yourself, that you get to find out who it is that you are, how you tick, the things that are great about you, the things that you need to work on, the things that you need to get rid of. Does it feel uncomfortable? Oh, yes. Is it painful? Yes. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Because the freedom that comes through that self-discovery is so empowering. That's when you realize that you don't care if people around you do not like you, because you feel enough. No matter what anybody else do will shake that. And feeling enough is not because you have all the money in the world. It doesn't mean that you have to have all the degrees in the world, or you have to be the prettiest girl, or the most handsomest man, or the man with the muscle. Even the man with a little pot belly is, if you accept yourself and you love yourself, that is nice. We need to stop having this image in our heads of what a complete person is, because none of us are. None of us are. None of us are. I don't care what anybody tells me. None of us could say that every day when they wake up in the morning and they look at the mirror that they like who they see every single day of their lives. None of us are. None of us are. We have to stop measuring ourselves according to another person's ideas and ideals. Seek help. Find that one person or two people that you can trust to be vulnerable around. and just open up. Don't die in silence. And when I'm saying this, and I'm talking to each and every one of us as well, I'm talking to each and every one of us as well, that we need to get to a place where we make our environment, the environment that we are in, let us be mindful that we make it conducive enough that if anybody around us is suffering, that they will feel comfortable enough to come to us and ask for help. And when somebody asks you for help, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to diagnose anybody on what it is that you think that they are suffering. You don't have to tell them that whether they are wrong or right about the decisions that they have made. Just listen. And if you need to direct them to the right place, then direct them, support them through that journey. But let us stop judging. Let us stop judging and stop loving and caring for each other enough that we look out for each other. To overcome this epidemic that we are living in, of broken people giving birth to other broken people, and then it continues. We need to start healing ourselves so that we can support other people. So that when we get to the point of where we're becoming parents, or we're becoming mentors, or advisors of some level, or leaders, we are training people to be content human beings. Let us focus more on what's in the inside and not what is on the outside. And I hope today's focus makes sense, or that we find it relatable. And I think the note that I will leave is, I have been in a situation where I thought there was no way out. I have been in a situation where I felt trapped. I felt trapped, and when you're at that place, you're looking at the other person to be the problem, but you're not seeing the role that you're playing in that situation. And sometimes we need to walk away to get it right. We need to walk away so that somebody once said to me, and she always says this to me, she says to me that you cannot see your own back. When we feel broken, it doesn't mean that we are broken. When we feel hurt, it's okay to acknowledge that. But then after you have acknowledged it, sit back and ask yourself the question, what role have I played? And if there's things that you need to do to make amends, absolutely do it. And if you know you have not done anything wrong, then accept the fact, okay, I got it wrong by choosing a B person. And then forgive those people that have hurt you. Because it's through the forgiveness that you will then begin to invest in yourself. It's through the forgiveness that you will begin to find the right nutrients that you need to feed your confidence, that you need to feed your inner being, which will then help the self-esteem come up again, your confidence come up again. Because we can sit here and say, oh, I'm strong, I'm this and that. But when you sit in an environment that is not conducive for your emotional well-being, regardless of how strong you think you are, you will be broken. You will be broken. So come out, ask for help, and let us individually make it part of our purpose to make ourselves available to help each other. And I hope today's message has helped. Until next week, thank you so much. Subscribe, like, please add more comments, and then we'll see you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.